Well, I'm really delighted to have on the line at 10 minutes to 3 a very, very good friend personally and professionally, a person who is admired greatly in Western Sydney, in particular in the Hills, and that's none other than Tony Eads, the current chairperson for the Sydney Hills Chamber. Tony, great to be on the line. Thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you very much, Jim, and thank you for that lovely intro. It's always a wonderful welcome from you, sir.
Well, it's only true. It's really interesting. I was very fortunate to MC. There's an old saying that if you don't want to say anything bad, don't say it. And if you want to say things good, which you genuinely mean, and you know as well as I do, if you say something, people remember it. And you know, the Julia Gillard statement, there'll be no carbon tax, has haunted her. So if you say something and it's not true, people will remind you very quickly about it. And I'm really grateful that you would think that what I do say is authentic, and you know that that's the truth. So thank you for that. Tony, you are on husband duties from memory. You've got to pick up. I'm telling our listeners, you've got to pick up children, and I think Maria has had to travel, so I can't keep you too long because you have other commitments and so on. Just very briefly, we might go to the Macquarie News at 3 o'clock and have a couple of minutes after it, because we could speak for 2 hours of all the things that you're involved in. You really are a great entrepreneur. You're starting it. Let's just talk about this concept, because it's really interesting what you're doing. You've started a concept, and I'm going to let you run with it, called MIB.
That's right, Jim.
Yeah, can you talk about that acronym and what you're trying to do?
Okay, no, definitely. It's a new initiative for the kind of Hills area that we're looking at possibly taking, not just from the Hills but around. We're looking at doing it. Firstly, there's 3 of these events that we're doing. 2 of them in Castle Hill, and the other one across in Parramatta. And the concept around it is MIB, standing for Not Men in Black, as people would probably be familiar with, although we might dress in black with a black tie on just to set the scene. But it actually stands for Masters in Business. And the idea is to get together 30 or 40 leading business entrepreneurs in the area, have a short little networking function so we can all meet each other, because we're all so busy doing our own bits and pieces around the community and around our business lives that we don't get a chance to probably really sit down and understand on a social level either what we all do or how we could potentially work together. So primarily we've got that little bit of a networking thing to start the evening off, and then we go into the wonderful gold class experience at Event Cinemas. To sit down and have a targeted kind of presentation or an inside information on things that are relevant to the business community. This particular first event on April 10 is about trademarks and how to make money out of your intellectual property.
That sounds very exciting, actually. So you're saying you're only really opening the door to about 30 or 40 people, essentially. You're trying to get like-minded people, and you're taking really important parts of business, and you're saying people, if they have these particular areas of concern or interest, then they can really find out a lot about things that are really pertinent to them. I'm really taken back, because I've been fortunate, listeners, to know exactly what's happening here. The area that you're looking at is really critical. Many people come up with ideas, don't they, Tony?
Everybody's got ideas, Jim, and protecting them is probably the most important thing you can do next to coming up with the idea. I think a lot of people have ideas and they keep them to themselves because they're scared to let them out into the open world. But really, I've always said an idea is not worth anything if you can't action it.
That's that. If I can just say, that's very good advice. So you're saying that I hope I say Stephen's surname correctly, but I think it's Krzyzewski.
Krzyzewski, yes, correct.
Yes, and Stevens has, I think, somewhere in the order of over 30 years in trademark attorney profession, where he's been able to help many SMEs with regards to the whole area of IP or intellectual property. That's my understanding.
No, you're 100% correct, Jim, and we've worked across a whole range of different spectrums, including electronics and IT and all that kind of area. He's worked with people with inventions and people who have like great ideas, but also he's worked on both sides of the legal area. So he's actually not only worked with people that are looking to protect a particular patent or a trademark, but he's also worked with people who are actually defending it because somebody else has attacked them to say, well, hang on a second, you can't use that.
Well, Tony, that's, again, very, very good advice, because I remember you telling me a story where people had come to you because, I mean, your expertise is in many, but particularly in marketing and brand marketing, your skill, and you look at that in the whole digital marketing, where people had gone off and they thought they'd done the right thing and got some IP protected, but the solicitor in that didn't really protect their domain names on the internet and so on, emails and websites, and they were very vulnerable to the extent that someone had copied something very similar to their name already, and there was a big fight over that.
It is. It's so true. And you know, the problem is, Jim, is that people set up a business with all the right intentions. And normally, you know, you might think you're protected when you're not really protected, but you don't find out until maybe 3 or 4 years down the track. As the business expands and grows, you become more viable, and obviously, you know, your business is becoming more transparent to a bigger market, and that's when it's going to hit you the most. And you know, Stephen will be telling on this particular evening one case study where a transport company was running for 3 or 4 years, and then all of a sudden someone saw on the side of one of their trucks a brand that was kind of an infringement of their trademark, and virtually sent them a cease letter to say you have to cease trading and remove that brand, otherwise we'll be taking you to court.
And I can remember another case with Cadbury's where someone was bringing out a chocolate and they brought out a colour similar to purple that was on the chocolates, and they actually put a global threat, a legal threat, to cease using that colour, or they would sue them. They take them to court. So people forget all these important things. They have the great idea, as you say, with regards to it. So what date's that on? And could you just tell our listeners what time that's on, please, Tony?
Yeah, sure, Jim. It's Wednesday, the 10th of April, so it's from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. at Gold Class Event Cinemas there at Castle Towers in Castle Hill. And if I can just say, to book, all the details are at mastersinbusiness.eventbrite, that's brite.com. So mastersinbusiness.eventbrite.com if anybody would like to attend. Love to see you there.
Well, can I also say, what's the cost, a couple of $100?
$95. And that includes the drinks and food and the Gold Class experience. True. We kept the price down because we want to make it affordable for people to attend and make it a really good night of networking and sharing of information.
Sorry, I got all the others, and I'm sorry I didn't get the price from you. So you're saying to be with 30 or 40 other businesses for 2 hours to learn a lot about your business from both yourself and Stephen is $95.
Yep, including the special Gold Class experience, of course, just to add a little extra tasting plate and some of the lovely food they serve in the Gold Class cinema. So it's a fantastic event with everything wrapped in for under $100.
That's very good. Tony, that's absolutely brilliant. I can't thank you enough for coming on our show. It's nearly 3 o'clock, and I know you've got a lot of big tasks. Mr. Mum. I don't know if you heard our breaking news before that there's going to be a leadership challenge at 4:30, or this, I think it's about 4:30 today.
Yeah, I just heard that actually just when I came on air with you then, so I'm going to be listening to the news bulletin in a couple of minutes myself with intent.
Well, it'd be very interesting to see in the speculation that comes about. Tony, on behalf of 90.5 and people with Jethro and Jim, we very much welcome and thank you for your leadership that you do for business in Western Sydney and particularly Hills. If people only knew what you're involved in with your own church, Salvation Army, you sit on the appeals committee with that, Relay for Life, there's just so many things that you do, and you seem to never be flustered with all the things on your plate. We're just delighted that you could spare some time, like Robert Love from Riverside Theatre, to make our show more enjoyable and to make our show really great. And we'll go out with a song. And what are we going to have? I'll talk to you soon, Tony. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.